Eureka is the title track from Jim O'Rourke's brand new album, and Jim O'Rourke is my guest from Chicago. Hi, Jim.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. You've been over the last 8 or 9 years involved in more than 100 projects. All of them vary quite violently stylistically. Do you ever worry about being dismissed as a dabbler?
Well, I mean, it happens anyway. It doesn't bother me because I know I'm not. I mean, it's the problem that people think that the things you do in public is the only thing you do. It's also this idea that, people can only be interested in a particular genre of music, and I'm not interested in genre. I'm interested in what people do with whatever area of music it is they're working in. Individuals interest me, not particular types of music.
Well, is it possible to do all that you do well?
Well, no, but I mean, of course not. Of course not. But I mean, hopefully, then you have the common sense not to bother people with it. I mean, there's plenty of stuff I do that I throw away or erase or, If I just continue to do something I know how to do, I'm not going to be put into a situation in which I'm going to have to learn. And if I don't learn, I don't feel like I'm being honest to the audience at all. I mean, I don't want to bother them or bore them with the learning process, but I think I have to do that in private through work in order to reach that point.
But when you talk about learning, is it learning to be a better player? Is it learning to master arrangement even?
No, it's not even. I mean, it definitely doesn't have anything to do with musicianship because I mean that's, if anything, that's the thing I'm least interested in. It's just learning new ways to perceive things. It's like when I was a kid and I was watching. I think if anything, the thing that really did it for me was when I was pretty young. I was lucky enough to see Performance and Weekend, and the Nick Rogan and Godard films, and the way that they went the extra step to not take the way that the film was communicating to people and took extra steps to question the way that it did, really taught me things about the medium that I would never have known if they hadn't taken those extra steps. So, I mean, that's always been, that's been part of me since then.
Well, part of their thing, though, was that split between, the creator of the work and the viewer of the work. And
right.
They seemed very uncomfortable being the creator of the work. Are you ever comfortable in, the skin of a musician?
No, not at all.
And you don't aim for that at all, to be comfortable?
No. I mean, I'm as much a listener of music as I am a person who makes it. So when I listen to other people's records, I don't like being lectured by them. I don't like the idea that... I think a lot of it had to do with when I was younger. I was really into, Stockhausen and all that. But then as I started thinking about, the sort of humanist and political implications of what they did, it really started to affect me thinking about, the responsibility of dealing with the question of hierarchy. And I didn't like this idea that they were creating a hierarchy between the audience and the listener, that they know something that you don't and they have a power over you because of that. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to lecture people. I don't, I'm not interested in, I don't, when I listen to music, I don't want to be lectured by somebody. I want them, it's sort of like I want to be invited into the learning process with them.
Well, you also taught music as well, so, how did you negotiate those ideas with...
I taught Metallica songs to, Beavis and Buttheads, that was about the extent of my teaching.
Well, and you went through the academy, though, as well, right? And,
yeah.
And you've talked about that experience being very frustrating, but it had to have been crucial to your ideas and reading and understanding of music.
I mean, it was because I had to learn to argue with them. I mean, the thing is, I was there and I felt like it was wrong, but I couldn't articulate why. And being thrown into a situation like that, I had to learn to articulate why I disagreed with some of the things that they said. Not everything, of course. So, I mean, it was good in that way. In general, it was not worth it, but I am glad that I was put in a situation where I was confronted with things that I didn't feel comfortable with, that just felt on a gut level wrong. I didn't know why, but eventually I knew why, because I was in a situation where I had to argue. I had to articulate why I felt a certain way.
Were there particular topics that always circulated, or that were on your mind? Was it just the hierarchy issue or the canon issue?
A lot of it's the hierarchy issue. The idea that certain musics are more important than other musics. The idea that in contemporary classical composition that there is this linear slope upwards towards the next musical language, as opposed to a continuous discovery and refinement. A lot of things, the whole idea that the academy in general is parasitic because they're just teaching you in order to replace them. The break culturally between the academy and the music world now, where they genuinely didn't understand the way that music can be distributed amongst people now, and culturally where the music stands. I mean, they were frozen in 1958 to 1967. I'm picking them randomly, but and I can't live in this fantasy land, from reading David Cope books over and over again. It's a fantasy land.
Well, of the big name 20th century composers, what do you think some of the sacred cows among them might be that need to come down a notch or two?
Oh, Stockhausen, definitely. Lamont Young.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely.
He deserves to be bothered because he's holding on to all the Tony Conrad stuff.
No, it's more than that. I mean, I'm not as much a Tony Toady as people would think.
Tony Toady. That's his fan club's official title?
I mean, I think it's amazing that there's a cult around Lamont Young when 99% of these people have never heard a single note of his music. I think that's astonishing. I mean, it's a cult of personality, and not meaning to degrade anything that Lamont did do, but I mean, it's completely out of proportion, But I don't want to go on about Lamont Young because I really don't mean to insult him. I mean, it is sad that many of the people who are doing much more groundbreaking work than have. I mean, one of the things I like about Tony is that the way he has finally, now that he has a chance to present his music, the way he's doing it, that he's doing it on this non-academic level. He's presenting it to to audiences who actually genuinely want to hear it and are getting something out of it. Because the fact of the matter, especially in the States, the people who want it, this sounds really dumb, but the people who want to hear Tony Conrad are the kids, I mean, you go to a Tony Conrad concert, there's 500, 20 to 30-year-olds, like, completely freaking out and genuinely freaking out on it. And, I mean, that's what was going down in the 60s at these concerts. It's not as if when they were playing in the loft, there was, like, grant writers and stuff sitting in the audience, I mean, it was even worse. There's a bunch of people stoned out of their gourd, Let me think who else.
The decanonization list.
I mean, I'm not into Boulez, but that's kind of obvious.
Okay, what about heroes then? Let's stop being so negative.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be negative. Well, I mean, there's plenty of people I think are absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think Phil Knebloch's really underrated. Arnold Dreiblot. Some stuff that I really do think gets overlooked because of the decisions they chose later was early English minimalism, like John White and Gavin Bryars, and a lot of that stuff is really overlooked now because of what they did later. They chose different paths, which is fine and everything, and but their early works are really, I think, astonishing, and have in some ways been overlooked or been overshadowed by what they've done later. I mean, several of the big names. Of course, I think Coggle's work in the 70s is fantastic and actually has been quite underrated, especially with all the interest in John Zorn, which is great.
Now, Zorn used his game theories for all the Cobra stuff, or?
Well, I mean, I think Coggle was a big influence on Zorn. I mean, even in Zorn's first record on. What would be the first? No, was Archery first or Pool? No, it's in Pool, so it wasn't in his first record. The second one. I mean, there's pictures of the Coggle Hat Company. There's all these clues there for people.
Yeah.
And of course, that's great because you learn from everybody. I mean, I do think Zorn's early work, the things people can get now in the box set, or heavily influenced by Kaggle, and in a great way. The things he changed about it were great. The way he adapted it to his community, the early American improvising scene, I think was really fantastic.
You've identified on a number of occasions Luke Ferrari as being one of the most important to you personally.
He's insanely underrated.
I kind of imagine Jim O'Rourke in high school wearing like a Luke Ferrari tour T-shirt. Everybody else is wearing like
I
Kiss.
wish I had one. I wish I had one. Yeah.
You identify something that I think is kind of interesting that nobody's really talked about, is that you identify in Luke Ferrari and his musique concrète compositions that he's so great because he has an understanding of the social meaning of the sounds that he's using. So it's not just an abstract car door slamming. It's part of the whole history, the social history of humankind and technology.
Right.
Now, when you come up with pieces on your own, if you take that as an important, honest starting point, as you mentioned earlier, how do you try to get to the social relevance of sound in some of your stuff? Well,
I mean, up until like maybe 4 years ago, it was the last time I did like a record of tape music. I had done this record for John Zorn's label, this Terminal Pharmacy record, and I think up to that point, because I was so into that idea, but the problem I was having was that despite using sounds for their cultural reference, there of course is no standard for that. What it means to me doesn't necessarily mean something to someone else. And I found that kind of frustrating, but I moved from thinking it was frustrating to understanding that was, of course, inevitable. So I think with the last few things I did with that kind of, with working that way, I sort of tried to address that point, because it came to me that, growing up locked in my bedroom listening to musique concrète records, I had, of course, created in my head, like everyone does, a particular mythos for that music, and a particular culture. But when I grew up, I began to realize that that to a certain degree the music had nothing to do with me, because I didn't grow up in France. I didn't understand French culture. I was growing up in America, and the cultural reference points were not the same. And not that that's bad or good, but I came to realize that, and so.
Did it make you feel dishonest, or?
No, I didn't feel dishonest. I mean, I'd feel dishonest if I realized that and then I continued to do it, which is why I stopped doing that stuff, because I did come to this realization, and I thought, well, I have nothing left to say then, so I mean, if anything, that's one of the things about Eureka that does have to do with my old records, is that there's an enormous amount of cultural reference on there. I mean, and not jokey cultural reference, I'm not interested in postmodernism. It doesn't, that's because that very easily, lazily turns into irony, and I'm not really all that interested in irony.
Well, I'm really having trouble reading Eureka. I mean, I can't figure out whether
that's good, though.
it's cheese or if it's sincere. It's quite confounding, especially the Burt Bacharach track that we're going to listen to.
Well, the thing with the Burt Bacharach track, and I was sort of sad about that because I chose it specifically because of the lyrics, because lyrically it made sense at that point in the record. And then all this because I recorded it maybe about a year and a half ago, and then all this Bacharach stuff happened. And I mean, of course, I think Bacharach's a good songwriter, and I enjoy his stuff, but I'm actually not I'm not like a big fan or anything. I mean, I think I have like 2 records of his, and so. Ironically, that happened, and then now that song is loaded as a Bacharach cover as opposed to a song that a year ago most people would not have known.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people who are into Bacharach still don't know that song because it's not a popular song of his. So it's sort of, I have no, I have no control over culture.
Okay, we're going to take a listen to Jim's version of Something Big from Eureka. Something Big's from Jim O'Rourke's brand new album, Eureka, and Jim O'Rourke is in Chicago. And Jim, I have to ask you about something that seems more like an intuitive feeling I've been having about stuff that seems to be going on in Chicago in particular. And this is my my lame theory. And it seems to me, or it feels like, virtuosity is on the rise in the underground. There seems to be an emphasis on technique, of making yourself avant-garde, escaping your punk rock roots, all that. And you seem to be going the other way. Is that something that is a bit of a groundswell of people? I'm thinking of David Grubbs in particular.
Well,
and you don't even have to talk about him.
I mean, that would be true in that case, but I mean, the thing is, and this is not a cop-out, I kind of don't live here anymore, because I'm only here like a few months of the year. And actually, last night was the first time I've gone to a show here in 7 months. And I have noticed that, and I don't like it, because I'm finding a lot of people making, it's the same thing like, people who play in a garage band on the weekend, and I don't mean to degrade that at all. It's, people playing music because they like it, but because it's this type of music, it sort of inherently always implies that it's
not smart.
No, not that it's not smart. That the fact that people do it is out of a desire to, be experimental or to, be, discoverers and stuff. And the fact of the matter is now because the records are so easy to get and all that now, as opposed to in the past, what we are basically getting are cover bands of this type of music. And a lot of it's just, I think it's great that people are getting out and playing, a computer instead of a guitar now. That's great, but at the same time, I don't think it's been really addressed that it's the equivalent of people who get together and play Ramones tunes or things like that, and it's all as they say on Ricky Lake, it's all good, but it's also, that's what it is. And this type of music has not been redefined now as something that people can get together and play, and it's like, it still has this stigma of being, everything that's done in it is this great attempt to expand music, and it's not anymore, because people are into it now and people are playing it, and that's fine and dandy, but there's a difference between the two, and not one is not better than the other, but there is a difference. Virtuosity bores me, it really does. There's certain people who can do things with it that make sense, there's a reason for it, but being technically good for technical good's sake, I just don't understand it. It just takes the human interest out of it for me, because to me anybody can really learn to play something really well. Maybe it'll take somebody a week, maybe it'll take somebody a year, but everybody can. I really believe that. But to me what's interesting is to hear someone I like to hear somebody trying. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I want to hear somebody trying. It's like with improvised music, sometimes I don't care whether I actually enjoy it or not. To me, it's successful if what I'm hearing only would happen because it's that group of people playing together, and if you change something about it, somebody in the group, it would have been a completely different thing. When that happens, to me, it's of interest and successful.
Well, were you well on your way in your early 20s to becoming a guitar virtuoso, if you had chosen to?
People perceive me as that, but I've always sucked. I don't play very well. I'm serious. I don't know what people are talking. At the moment, I can't even play a C chord. I've never practiced. It just doesn't interest me. If anything, because people were saying that, that's why I stopped. I'll pretty much now, I won't play for about a year, and then I'll play for like 2 or 3 months, and then I won't play again for a year. Because, I'm just not into it.
Well, do you have a good relationship with your guitar these days?
I can hardly play it.
Well, it's no longer a loaded instrument for you where people expect you to do, like, pyrotechnics.
Oh, yeah, no, people still always bugging me about the guitar, yeah. I was asked to play at a festival recently, and they were really mad I didn't bring the guitar, and it's like an improvised music festival, and I was like, well, I'm not here to show off guitar, I'm here to improvise. I brought my power book, and, to me that's much more interesting, to use an instrument that I'm as much in a sense of discovery with as hopefully the audience is, Of course I want to be able to a certain degree, do do the things that I want to do, but also I want to be in a position where I'm learning about it every time I use it.
The why of improv and what people discover about themselves in the process is always kind of interesting to me. Do you have a mission when you start improvising with people?
A mission? I don't think so. I've sort of really cut back on improvising because a lot of times what happens is people play improvised music instead of improvising, and that's also fine, but
what are kind of examples of what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, using the language of improvised music, and that, and staying with that language and not drifting outside of it at all. If something seems to be of interest at the moment, but you don't do it because you're supposed to be using improvised music language, then to me that's not interesting, because even if you fall flat on your face, the attempt to go somewhere you haven't gone before, or that the group of people haven't gone before, I mean, that's the thrill of the music. It's not, I mean, traditional now, I mean, and this, though some people wouldn't think it, I think improvised music is completely traditional by now. I mean, some of it I still, as a listener, I enjoy very much, but I mean, for me personally to do it, I can't do that. I mean, I still enjoy improvised music. I like listening to it, but I mean, I can't really do it because, or I can't do it often because I don't want to fall into that pattern.
Well, I think about somebody like Derek Bailey, who for like 30 years has been improvising, and he apparently isn't finished yet.
Well, Derek, I think, is a great exception to this, because he continues to put himself in perverse situations, which is what's so fantastic about him. Although he's playing, obviously he plays with a particular language that's all his own. And I do think you can tell distinctions. I mean, if you play something of his, you can tell what year it's from, because he does change, but it's within his language. But the fact that he continues to put himself in rather perverse situations, and question what's supposedly improvised music, I think he's still the guiding light of that music. I really do. I think he's amazing to this day.
Jim, you listen and talk about so much music, some of it really obscure. And this is where the reissue label comes in. Where do you find all of the stuff that you end up reissuing? Is there a network that you can just plug into and people tell you it's good, or are you constantly buying and listening to records?
Oh, I buy an obscene amount of records. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I try to listen to at least 6 to 8 records a day, like new ones.
My God. Like really listen to them, or they're just
yeah. No, I listen to them. I don't know. I mean, it's like a funny thing. Like people ask you, what record are you listening to now, and you can never remember. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I mean, since I was a kid, if I like one thing and I hear it referred to in relation to something else, or there's something referred to in relation to, I have to hear that too. So it's a continuous. I'm continuously cross-referencing things, and if somebody says something to me that I haven't heard, I want to hear it immediately, and I try as hard as I can to, I mean, and it doesn't matter to me what genre it is. It's just what's interesting to me is that individual effort that somebody's trying. To me, I'm just as interested in Autechre as I was in Look Ferrari, as I was into John Fahey, as Sparks, for Christ's sake, because the thing is, all those people, the thing that's the same about all of them is that within whatever area of music they were working in, they made the effort to find some new way to express it. And all these people have been very successful in doing things in a way that has not been heard before, and really expand like what you can get out of music. So to me, it doesn't matter that Autechre is considered like electronic dance music, and that Sparks was I mean, I'm speaking about early 70s Sparks, is like glam rock. To me, they're both fantastic, because they really went the extra effort, and they taught me to perceive these things in ways I hadn't heard before.
Well, I suppose if there's one, well, then this is a pretty big thing, a positive bent to the avant-garde creep going on in what was once otherwise indie rock in certain areas, that a lot of the experimental stuff going on in Chicago again, and through Tortoise and some of the stuff you're involved in, operates as a window to the other side for people who might not otherwise discover the avant-garde.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Now, are you aware of the power that you have to influence young minds?
No, I don't have any influence on young minds.
Well, the label really is...
Well, I mean, I'm happy if they get in, if they buy it and get into it, but I mean, that's why my name isn't on the records or anything. I mean, I can't get into doing that. That's, that's arrogant. I mean, I don't fool myself into thinking kids are buying it because it's my label, I mean, if anything, if anything, the Drag City connection is what's helping.
Well, what if I said that they are buying it because it's your label? Would you be uncomfortable with that idea?
Yeah, probably.
But then isn't
I don't
it
really
good for
believe
the
it.
music?
Well, it's good that they can hear it, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have no problem with them buying it because it's on Drag City, because to me, Drag City is the finest label on the planet, and putting the name Drag City means good record.
Yeah.
Or most of the time, great record. So I got no problem with that, but I mean, it's my responsibility to do this stuff. I mean, I grew up listening to this music, and these people taught me so much stuff that it's my responsibility, because I'm in a position, because Drag City trusts me to invest their money into this label. I mean, it's my responsibility to do it. I think. I mean, somebody, somebody put out records for me to hear when I was a kid. So because I can, I think it's my responsibility to do it. How could I not do it?
Yeah, yeah. But it also gives you an opportunity to approach people that you admire, John Fahey, Tony Conrad. Is there anyone that you'd be nervous about approaching who you think you really need to get records reissued by them?
Roy Harper, maybe. Trying to think.
Like, who of your heroes are left who you haven't already talked to and made friends with?
Oh, there's plenty. Definitely Roy Harper. Gosh, let me think. Van Dyke Parks. There's definitely stuff out there I wish I could reissue that I can't. For various reasons. I mean, and I don't care so much about me reissuing it. I just want it out again so somebody can buy it. I mean, the Roy Harper things are available, but they're expensive imports, and hardly anybody in the States knows who Roy Harper is, He's like some cult item, and things like that.
But Jim, producing's been taking up so much of your time lately, and the variety of projects, again, is incredible. Fahey to Superchunk. When you're producing stuff, how do you view your role as a producer?
Well, in general, I'm there to be the person to translate what they want to do into, the language, if I could use a dumb phrase, the language of the studio, Everybody has a particular way of articulating what they want. Some people are more eloquent than others. Some people, everyone uses different methods to articulate it, and I think it's my job to be, the person there that they can rely on to get what it is they want, be it something as simple as, I like the drum sound from, these 1974 Trident studio recordings. How did they do that? I mean, it's my responsibility to know that and to be able to do it.
So you're not interested in having your own signature then?
No, because, I mean, if I did, then it would be terrible, because I wouldn't be learning anything about it. I wouldn't be learning about anything about the studio. I wouldn't be learning anything about how to work with people. Because, I mean, especially with producing, you can learn so much from other people because they've got a different perspective than you, and that's a great thing.
When you examine the body of work that you have, which is so varied, is it possible to see here something that is you in it, that gosh, that's so Jim O'Rourke?
Probably. I mean, it would be silly to say no, because, I mean, obviously anything I do is going to be influenced by the person I am. I may not necessarily hear it. Maybe some people can hear things I can't hear because I'm me, There's definitely more a sense of humor in the stuff than I think people have thought about, than people have thought. I mean, something like, the sax solo on Eureka, I mean, they're like a big, I think, of course it's stupid. Of course it's the end of Saturday Night Live when the cast comes out and waves at the audience, I know that. That's why I used it, because it sounds like that. yeah, I think, I mean, I can hear that in things like, I can hear absurdity in the things I do, but I mean, I don't know otherwise. I mean, obviously harmonically, it's just everyone has particular tastes in what sounds good to them, but, I mean, everything is connected, whether it sounds like it or not, and of course I know you can't hear it all, because, I mean, the audience can't, because, I mean, I unfortunately get to hear every note I play, and, I can see how it's connected, because something I reject affects something that I don't reject, and, so,
Okay, well, maybe it was an impossible question, sorry.
Sorry.
Jim, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come in.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.